Yo guys, what is good? Welcome back on the Uncle Sharma channel. Time for Champions League preview. Tomorrow, Inter versus Bayer Leverkusen, or should I say Bayer Leverkusen versus Inter. We are away in Leverkusen, and it will be the second team in the current Champions League table facing off against the sixth team in the Bundesliga. Of course, we know how Inter are doing in Serie A. Leverkusen are third in the Bundesliga. It's not the Bayer Leverkusen from last season, of course. Remember, the Leverkusen last season, they won Bundesliga, unbeaten. What a story that was. Xabi Alonso, the players, fantastic way. Any team that doesn't win the Bundesliga outside of Bayern Munich is always a great story. They're a little bit different this year. They're not doing as well. Maybe teams have figured them out. Maybe there was a bit of overperformance, but it's still a very good team. They've conceded a lot more goals this year. If you want to compare them quickly using data MB, the stats overall, you'll see Bayer Leverkusen in blue and Inter in the purpley pink color. You can see this year we're kind of outperforming them on all the metrics. Really, we do more counter-attacking, more defending, more physicality, more pressing as well, which is something that we haven't spoken about too much. But I have looked at some data that I might bring up in future videos that shows this season actually Inter have raised their level of pressing. We're still quite a mid to low block, but we have raised our level of intensity of pressing this season, which also may, something to talk about in terms of our defending that has been, not improved this year. But everywhere else, the other points, possession-wise, they're a bit more likely than us to keep a bit more possession, attacking, and goals were the same. But yeah, really interesting team as we talk about. It will be a really interesting game, but it's not a must-win game for Inter, which is why I wanted, and we all wanted the Leipzig win so much, because Leipzig at home, they're performing so badly. They got so many injuries. That was the game to give us the 13 points in this UCL table. And the data models and the predictions are saying that around 16, 17 points should guarantee you a place in the top 8. So for Inter, this is definitely not a must win. If you can go out to Leverkusen, out there, get a draw, great result for me. Get to 14 points, and then you've got other winnable games left to get to that magical 16, 17, 18 point mark to get you into the top 8. Similar to when we played Leipzig, it's probably a kind of good time to play Leverkusen at the moment. They are in good form. I mean, we don't really have much of a historical much history in previous meeting against them. You can see last time we played them was in the Europa League, if you guys remember, when we went to the final in 2020, Conte's first season. I actually watched that game live outside, it was like a event. I can't remember what company was it. Was it Hyundai or someone? It was like, my first kind of influencer event that I was invited to since I started this journey. And yeah, if you remember Barella scoring one with his outside of his right foot, it was a good performance from Inter. And then I think Lukaku bundled in the second one. But yeah, not much of a history here, Inter. But we've beat them the last 3 times we faced them. We've beaten them, which is a good sign. In terms of form, Leverkusen are coming pretty much the exact same form as us. Both of us had a draw in the last 6 games, but everything else has been a win. Well, apart from, we have the Fiorentina abandoned game. But why I say that it might be a good time to play them is because actually they have a few injury issues at the moment. So if we go to the predicted lineups here, you'll see no Victor Boniface and no Patrick Schick, who are their 2 main guys. And also, Amin Adli, who's also another big attacking outlet for them. So in terms of that, it's a very good time to play against them, because essentially those are their 2 main strikers. You can see Boniface, Patrick Schick, obviously outside of Florian Wirtz. So that's essentially Inter missing Marcus Thuram and Lautaro Martinez. So of course, still they are a very good team and not to be underestimated in any way or shape. If we look at the preview, I mean, FOTMob is not really reliable in terms of predicted lineups. Ignore the Inter one. We'll look at it, the proper ones, on the Sky Sport one. Actually, it does look pretty accurate. Yeah, very strong midfield. Of course, we know Grimaldo. We talk about Di Marco as being probably the best left wing back in the world, especially in terms of his technical ability, touch. And there's one guy that can chat to him. There's one guy that can chat to Di Marco, and that is Grimaldo. Especially, he's probably superior in terms of free kicks for sure and distance shooting. But I think Di Marco is probably superior in all the other categories. Jonathan Tah, of course, we've been linked with him on a free transfer for next season. Keep an eye out for him. Experienced centre-back. Tapsoba, we played him. He is actually part of that team that we played a few years ago. Jeremy Frimpong, of course, pacey, tricky wing-back on the other side. But their wing-backs are mainly more like wingers. They have a very fluid system under Xabi Alonso, one of the most talented or most hyped up-and-coming coaches at the moment. I think he will end up at Real Madrid after Ancelotti. It's kind of written in the stars for me. So yeah, and then their replacement for Boniface and Schick at the moment is Nathan Teller. No one really know too much about him. He hasn't scored any goals in Bundesliga this season. If you guys know something more about him, 25-year-old Nigerian, let me know. But we should be confident going into this game. Of course, Wirtz is going to be roaming around, so we have to. Our defenders, Devray, Bastoni, and Bisek, need to watch out for who's going to take him, how he's going to roam. Hakan and the other midfielders, pass him on when Wirtz is going to have that free role to roam around and hurt us. Yeah, as I said, very, very good team. 27.4 average age, young, energetic, quite a bit of pace. So definitely going to be a difficult game for Inter tomorrow. In terms of Inter, let's get into the latest news courtesy of Inter Extra on Twitter. So the main news is Denzel Dumfries is out for this game in the lineups, in the predicted lineups. So yesterday he was there. So it looked like he was going to continue as the right wing back, as I also suggested, because at the moment Matteo Darmian is the backup right centre back. So I think the idea was going to be to rest Bastoni, move Bisek to left centre back, Darmian to right centre back. Devray stays in the middle, but unfortunately, because of Dumfries' illness, is now Darmian will have to play as a right wing back, which is not too bad, to kind of counteract Grimaldo on that side. Not the end of the world, but it looks like Bastoni then has to continue. No rest for Bastoni because of that. Buchanan did travel with the team, but he's got a slight muscular fatigue, but we know he's wasn't going to be starting anyway. But maybe a weapon to use for Inzaghi off the bench. He does need to have a better impact than he had. He had a good impact against Hellas Verona, but against Parma, the goal we can see it came from Tejon being a little bit sloppy in possession. So yeah, he needs to be a bit more careful about that. Here's the full list of the absentees. So Acerbi still out as well. We're hoping to get him back for the Lazio game. Pavard will be out, as we know, until the end of the year. Di Gennaro, if we're losing sleep over that. And then obviously, Correa Palacios not on the UEFA list. And this is the predicted team for tomorrow. And yeah, I take it back. FOTMob was actually accurate. So I guess maybe they took it from Sky Sport Italia. Predicted lineups, the Champions League rotations. We know Zielinski is the starter in Champions League. So is Frattesi. And so is Taremi, which is good to see. Hopefully, Taremi shows us something a little bit more outside of his nice play, nice pressing. We want to see some shooting on goal and some goals, hopefully. Carlos Augusto, is good to see him come back. A bit of rest for Di Marco. And of course, Di Marco can come on second half if we do need him. Marcus Thuram continues. I did say in my post-match reaction to Parma that I wanted Lautaro to actually continue. But he got the full 90 minutes, so I can see why Inzaghi is rotating him. But at the same time, I am in that camp of let's just keep playing Lautaro now in terms of getting his fitness back, getting his sharpness back. The only way you're going to do that, I guess, is by playing more. So I wouldn't have minded to see a Taremi Lautaro duo. I don't think we've seen that, have we, yet this season? Apart from obviously substitute appearances when they've both ended up on the pitch together. I think against Man City that happened. But yeah, Thuram is just so important for us in terms of his pace, physicality, and now his hold-up play, everything. Taremi is probably going to be the guy coming a little bit deeper, picking up the ball. So we do need Thuram in behind to trouble that Leverkusen defense. And yeah, defensively, we should be okay. Just gotta hope for no more injuries. But yeah, that is a team that is solid, that can also potentially get a win, out there in Leverkusen. As I said, if they haven't got too much attacking cutting edge at the moment without their main guys up front, that also could mean for Inter to, they're not the greatest team defensively. They've already conceded 20 goals this season in the Bundesliga. They've conceded more than Bayern Munich and Eintracht Frankfurt, who are ahead of them in the league. So, I think we can hurt them. It's, Frattesi coming in, Zielinski coming in. I'm kind of confident going in. Again, we have been very good in Champions League, haven't we? I think our clean sheet record will end tomorrow in Leverkusen. We won't have a clean sheet. That record will be broken. But I think we will still be unbeaten. I think I'm going for a 1-1 draw away in Leverkusen. And that, as I said, to me will be a fantastic result. You guys give me your predictions down in the comments down below. Who would you start? Who should we fear out of Leverkusen with Schick and Boniface out? Who should we watch out for? Are there any particular players that you're watching out for? Let me know in the comments down below. See you for the post-match reaction tomorrow night after the game. Leave a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel. Forza Inter. Hopefully we can bring another 3 points home. Ciao.